So on the previous video we saw how to change items, weapons, stuff like that, including spells and item spells and all that nice stuff. So in this one we're actually going to create the spell behaviors and the spell logic. And what I did in here, I just created a simple fireball so that we have something to test, and basically it just fires it up forward. It's nothing really fancy. Yeah, the fireball itself is really nothing. It just has the particle you can find on the resources, the fireball that goes on the hand as well, a point light and a cube with an emissive material. Okay, it has a target right here. If I change the target in here, it's going to shoot towards the target position. Of course we can change speeds. We should probably change speeds also, maybe something like 10. And yeah, for the script itself, we're going to call it grenade projectile. We might have like a kind of like 2 or 3 different types of projectiles, you know, for knives and fireballs, stuff like that. We might change this in the future, depending on how easy and how it looks on multiplayer and if we're having any problems on that. And instead of using physics, we might just use translate. Okay, but for right now, this will work just fine as well. So for this one, yeah, I was kind of playing around and I thought, yeah, we were getting it really, it was getting too much complicated without having any reason to be that complicated. So what I did is I get my rigid body, okay, vertical, horizontal and vertical speed. For this example right now, I also have a target, but we're going to delete this part of the code and only work with this one. We get the component, the rigid body. Okay, if the target direction is 0, then assign it to whatever transfer direction you already have. We make it into a rotation, we make the particle rotate towards the direction and just apply its force with rigid body. Okay, for now this will work just fine. Let's write all this into logic that's going to go on top of our, where basically we don't need this anymore. So let's make that into prefab. I already have it. I'm actually just going to hit apply in here. Okay, place it as a prefab. Into my resources, into my spell items, and my fireball, I have the projectile and I'm going to go and assign that there. Fireball projectile. Now, we need a way to say that the action you are doing it right now is a spell, and this spell is a projectile, and you're going to basically cast a projectile. So let's think how we can do this. Into our state manager, if we go, let's go in here, we have a detect action, which should be, let's see, detect action, go to definition, and we are over here. If we are attacking, if we are blocking, and now we're going to have if we are spelling. So let's open up the attack action because we're probably going to do something similar. Let's do void spell action and pass the action slot. And actually, spell action, we should be looking now what is our current action spell. So into our inventory, if we go into our weapons also, let's see, notice resources, weapons critical. So for example, into our pyromancy, we have a spell class, so we can utilize the pyromancy and check if on the item we have, if it's also a pyromancy spell. So we need to add in here, into our items, into our spells, spell type, and also public spell class. Let's call this spell class. Let's make sure wherever we copy the spell type, we also copy the spell class. So the easy way to do this, find our references from spell type, do dot spell class equals from dot spell class. Let's do this one more time, find our references, and yeah, it's the same one. So we only do this over here, so that's convenient. Save spell items, we don't add anything new. On our state manager now we can say if slot dot spell class not equals inventory manager or current spell dot instance dot spell class. Well, we can do a return, or you know, in Dark Souls you have a different, it plays an animation there, but I don't have an animation at this point, so I'm going to create it for a future video. Well, you know that he cannot cast a spell, it basically just says that. So let's just throw a debug log to know that we are in this case and say spell class doesn't match. So the same thing we are doing in here with our actions, we can just say anim crossfade slot, or let's do string target animation slot dot target animation anim crossfade. Yeah, we should probably just have this in here, up here. The target animation in here, it should also change. Can cast spell, and in here it will actually play the final one. Okay, so we have these two. Let's see though what else we can say. We could actually just get, instead of getting the animation from the action slot, we can get it, yeah, I think it's best if we get it from the actual spell instead. So we have spell type, spell class, projectile, and particle prefab. Let's do public action. Yeah, we can treat it as a different, I guess. We can treat it as actions as well. So let's go action. Let's call this. Yeah, let's just go with actions. This kind of complicates things a little bit more, I believe. But let's see. Let's write it over here, and if we have problems, then we can always change them. So we have our slot. The slot comes in here. It's the same one. So instead of getting it from the first one, no, let's leave it. Yeah. Well, I'm not entirely happy with this. Spell class. Yeah. Get this down here. Get this in here. Comment it out because there is no target animation, and instead of getting it from this one, we're going to get it from our current action, from our spell class. So we need our input, which will we be taking it from, I guess, this, not the action slot. Let's see, action slot, a input, copy paste this, and this is inside the action manager, get action input, but yeah, it's also public. Alright, state manager again. On our spell action, let's take our action input action manager dot get action input state manager. Not state manager, this will do. Okay, let's get our slot, not this slot, we want action. Let's go with a slot, spell slot, that is, and we should do inventory manager current spell dot instance dot actions dot get. I think we had action, no, yeah, we need one more call inside our spells, the same way we have inside our weapons. We're going to get copy paste this and put it in here. Or we can, yeah, we can just pass the list, I guess. Or instead of doing it in here, we can drop it inside the item list, but we'll just have to also call it for the weapon. Yeah, we'll be using the same list. This will work, hopefully. State manager, so that will be state manager dot instance get action. The action we want will be again, yeah, that's not really clever. So let's save our spell s instance will be inventory manager current spell dot instance. Okay, so s command instance dot get action s instance dot actions. And I think there's one more thing, and the input is the input we have at this point. Okay, now if s slot is null, then return, although most likely there is a problem over here, there is an error. So let's see, I think I want to just change to hardcode this stuff and say if input equals action input dot left bumper, search for the right bumper instead, so we only have to assign it once. And if input equals action input dot right trigger, then search for the right left trigger, command left trigger, search for the right trigger. Okay, yeah, so we only have to set up the right part, the right button and the right trigger. And let's see. Okay, and we have our action slot, and instead of getting it from the slot, we're going to get the target animation from our spell slot, and it's going to play that. Let's see if this will work. So we have our fireball. Let's create an action. Let's set it up as right bumper, it's okay. Type, we don't really care because it's already an attack. Spell class pyromancy will do. Target animation will be, let's go with, I think I have throw, yeah, I have throw in here. Also, I keep losing this all the time, the mirror, this thing. I don't know why, but make sure that these are always like this. At least this and all the attack animations always have the mirror open. And yeah, let's use throw for now. throw with just a throw animation. And I'm going to go into my script again, into my spells, and let's say throw. Okay, I don't have to change something. We can change weapon stats and stuff like that. I think I want to change weapon stats entirely and not use them and not use them for that. And I think for all of this, we pretty much have all we need at this point. So maybe it's better if we don't use all of this in the future, or maybe create actions, spell actions entirely and keep them separate so it's not that confusing. Yeah, that probably be a good idea. But for right now, let's just try this. Let's test this. And I'm going to go into my weapons on my Pyroman's Flame. On the first action, instead of attack, I'm going to change this into spell. So if it actually plays, it's going to play this throw animation. Let's see. Yeah, ignore the fireball. And it doesn't play, and it probably doesn't place because we do not copy. We're not doing a deep copy for the spell actions. For example, no, we're also not calling this spell action slot. If this is going to say if it doesn't show, let's also put the debug log in here, and let's say debug.log can't find spell action, spell slot. Let's hit play. Okay, we have an error. Let's see what that is. So that's the issue. We don't have an actual list to get. So let's also say if L equals null, then return null. I know where this is coming from. Okay, can't find spell slot. And as I said, we just don't do a deep copy for our spell slot basically. That will be into our static function, deep copy spell. We can say deep copy action, or better yet, deep copy action to action. So let's say deep copy action to action, and the first one will be from dot a, or let's see how we use that, or where we use that. Final references, yeah, inside the for loop. Let's copy all this, paste it in here, from action to action, and as you can see, it works just fine because we also again have from and to. Let's try it now. Maybe I spoke too soon. Yeah, we need to also do actions, new list actions. Okay, it throws the animation. Of course, it's on the wrong hand, but it doesn't matter. It still plays the animation. Let's see where the animation error comes from. It should start on the right hand, and as I can see, it starts on the right hand. So that means it just we need to also set it as mirror from here, from the item. state manager. Before we do a crossfade, we can also say anim.setBool static strings.mirror, and instead of getting it from the action slot, I can get it from the first slot, exactly the same as I do with the weapons, the attack actions. Okay, and they will work the same. So if on my pyromancy spell or item, let's see where it is, resources, spell item, if we click not the spell, the weapon, if we tick left hand mirror, it's going to mirror on the left hand. If you put it on the left hand, it's going to mirror it. Let's try it now. And okay, we have our spell animation. Of course, we need to probably change the speed. I see we also slide. Let's fix that. So to not slide, we should probably do, let's see, we have all of this as well. We should require. This will fix the sliding. And yeah, I think I want to break the spell actions. Yeah, let's do it because it seems cleaner. So yeah, let's do it like this. Let's copy this. Let's drop it inside weapons. And instead of actions, let's go into, let's leave it like this, but on the inventory manager, or no inventory manager, action manager, we need to open the action manager, controller, action manager. Let's come down here and let's create a new class. It's going to be a system again, serializable, public class, and I'm going to call it spell action. And basically we needed action input, action input, action type not really, and target animation. Okay, spell action, target animation. We should also have if it's mirrored or not, or no, we're going to handle that from the hand, from the item. I don't think you can pyromancy, so we also maybe we want to have speed as well. Speed is a little bit trickier because it has to do with stats, so it's not exactly the same as your attack weapons, stuff like that. So yeah, as I said, it's a little bit trickier. So maybe for it, yeah, let's add it. Let's add public float cast time. Let's call it cast time so that we separate that. And on our inventory manager right now, let's change the spell action. Let's initialize this to new spell action. On to our static functions now. We need to change into spell action, new spell action, deep copy action to action doesn't really exist. Well, we don't have it anymore. Let's also delete this as well. Let's create a new void, deep copy spell action from spell action from spell action to. Okay, so we can say to dot cast time from dot cast time to dot input from dot input to dot target animation from dot target animation. And let's do the deep copy spell action, a dot from dot dot actions I command I and close this, and this will be static, public static, public command public static void tip copy spell action. Okay, so this will just copy your spell actions on the state manager. Now, instead of get and yeah, we should also create a spell action inside our slot, inside our whip spells, and we do this. Let's copy paste all this, paste it down here, and we're going to change this to spell action, spell action, and it's going to be the same. Okay, no need to change anything else. So on the spell, on the state manager, spell action, and everything will work exactly the same. However, the spells we're doing and yeah, are kind of a little bit different than the action behavior. So for example, we actually want to have a little bit of a charge, and then we want to actually throw the whip, or well, you know, throw the projectile. So we need to break this, and let's see what's the proper way to break this apart. And it's going to be a little bit similar like the block action, like it's going to be coming in here probably. Let's see. Yeah, maybe we should add the boolean that we are doing a spellcast. Let's say this is states, run lock on, in action, can move. Yeah, we have the in action over here, so I guess we can say public bool is spell casting. So if we are spell casting, we cannot do rolls, but we can move until we play the throw animation. And let's see where we're going to play the roll animation. Let's see. We probably might need to break this a little bit more. Let's take our rolls and put them down here. Okay, this handles rotation, so we need this, all of this. Let's maybe write this into their own function, handle rotation. Let's take all of this, copy, cut, handle rotation. I see no errors, so we're lucky. Handle rotation. This will play the animation or not. Handle rolls in here. So if is spell casting, return. Okay, we are not doing anything. You cannot roll. If you're also spell casting, you are pretty much set for, I guess, call detection. Spellcasting will have to do with projectiles. Can move using item, or yeah, I guess it's we can use the same as using item, huh? Yeah, it might be actually the correct way to do this. No, let's just keep it separate and we'll see. And we're also going to say if using items or is spell casting and over here or is spell casting, and inside our spell action we're going to say we don't want to be in action just yet and can move, can stay over there. We're just going to say is spell casting is true. Okay, we also don't want to play the target animation. We don't want to play just the throw. So let's think a little bit what we can do. We have all of this, can move. Okay, so in here, before we cut our rolls, we're going to be handling the spellcasting timers and stuff like that. But let's see where is the appropriate. I'm trying to think where is the appropriate way to do the spellcasting properly. We should do a lock also, so onto our input handler when we are changing when we are not allowing him to change the quick slots. For example, we're going to say if states dot is spellcasting, return entirely, don't change anything. Okay, and probably we should also add or states dot using item. So on the state manager again, that means we are locked in for as long as we're playing the spellcasting. We are locked in and we cannot change items. So let's do this. Void handle spell casting. Let's create a float. Oops, this is not in here. Let's create it in here and we'll put it spell cast time. So if you're spell casting, you're going to say spell cast time add by our delta, and if spell cast time is greater than inventory manager, and inventory manager dot current spell dot yeah, we have two. Let's also say inventory manager, we need a pointer for, yeah, let's also do a current slot in the inventory manager and be done with this. Let's close this, actually control MO. Where we have our current spell, we're also going to have public action current current slot. Let's see if that's going to work. I think it's not, because this is let's do it. Or better yet, let's just use the store them instead of saving a whole this float max spell cast time. Okay, so if the spellcast time is greater than that, reset your spellcast time. Actually, we should be resetting the spellcast time in the spell action in here. Okay, spellcast time, maximum spellcast time, we'll take it from the slot we're using, s command s slot dot casting time, and we should also add string spell target animation, just because the lightning bolt, this will be straight. The lightning bolt, I think, has a different animation or a throw animation than the fireball. Okay, so it might be like that. And let's say also let's take the spell target animation will be as slot dot. Yeah, we can just add this one. I think it's best if we have two animations. Let's say, let's go into our spell actions and we're going to create another string, public string. Let's call this target animation and let's call this throw animation. Let's make sure everything is copied properly, and this will be throw animation. Yeah, actually we might even break this script a lot more per class, per spell class. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, let's see, at least for now let's focus on the pyromancy spell, or at least the fireball spell. And let's see, let's think. Not class, the type, not class. Yeah, I forgot what I was doing. Oh, yeah, we want throw animation to target animation over here, slot. 2 dot throw animation from dot throw animation, and I think this will be, yeah, this will do. So onto our state manager again, spellcast time. Now we want to say spell target animation, and let's also save this bool spell is mirrored. Slot.mirror. Okay, and handle spell casting should go in here. And if this plays, we need to say can move false, in action true, and is spellcasting is false, because the above stuff we're going to take over. So let's close this. Let's see what else we can fix. Let's see what we don't have an error. Clear. Let's go into our items again. For our fireball, we have target animation. We're going to start it. Let's go into, let's take the throw and put it on the throw animation. If you have a lot more throws, you can of course add something else. Cast time will start as 1. And here's the tricky part. We should add, oh, it's either the same way we have shield left and right, we should probably add this as well. So yeah, let's do it like this, I guess. There's no harm in trying. Let's take our animations into our spells, fireball loop and fireball start. Fireball start is going to start in here and it's going to move into fireball loop until we are done with the animation. So let's also add in one more parameter in here and say let's call it spellcasting. And if this spellcasting is false, then revert back to what you were doing before. Okay, fireball start, and I'm going to add the prefix of L for left. We're going to copy paste this into shield right. Make transition, Next time is false, and here we should say spellcasting is false. On the self left though, this will also be false. I think we need to we need to mirror this, so just click mirror. So on the seal right, we also need to change the fireball start to R. Let's go back to the script, state manager. Let's open up static strings, animator parameters. Let's add this one in here, public static string spellcasting equals spellcasting. As you can see, I have added the prefixes also. So on our state manager, spell is mirrored. We can also use this if it's left or right. Okay, so over here, spell is mirrored. Let's think. Target animation will start as this, and if spell is mirrored, then target animation will add onto the static strings dot underscore L. So it's going to play the left version of our animation, otherwise static dot R. Okay, and we should also say anim set bool static strings dot spellcasting to true in here. And in here we should also say spellcasting, or actually let's place it in here above now. On the using item, get bool spellcasting to is spellcasting. Let's try this now. And so what is going to happen if everything is correct? On our spell item for 1 second, on the target animation we should also change this to fireball start. Fireball, remove the prefix. Okay, it's going to play the fireball start for 1 second, and then it's going to play the throw animation. Let's see if that's going to work. And we cannot find the string. We cannot find the state. So that means we have an error on our target animation. Let's debug it and let's see why we have the error. Target anim. Oh, we forgot to copy something, I believe. Target animation slot. No, this works. Then what? We somehow lost. We lost our references for a reason. I don't know. Fireball start. This will be throw. Save. What the hell? We have our references. A slot get action. Oh, is that? No, that's correct. We need to debug it somewhere, so different way, I guess. Let's create this. Spell items, fireball, let's see, fireball, instance, actions. We have the action, but we don't have anything inside our action. So that means when we are creating a runtime spell, there's the issue when we are creating a runtime spell. Inventory manager then. Oops. Spell to runtime spell. Let's go over this again. We have our instance, deep copy spells. Maybe that says. From spell to spell. No. Then. No, something is wrong. Oops. This will be the opposite. Let's says. Okay, because we were getting it, we were basically getting from, yeah, it was the opposite in here. This will probably work. So that means that's why we lost our references into our scriptable object. That part of the code, rewrite all this. Let's change the casting time to 1. And let's see now. Okay, beautiful. It loads the, well, you know, it charges the fireball and then he shoots it. For the amount of casting time we have this, so we can also affect this. If we have rings and stuff like that, we can affect this value, or better yet, we can affect the value directly on the state manager we have in here. So what we can do now on our inventory manager, when we are loading the, we can utilize basically the projectiles we have right now. Not the projectile, the prefabs we have right now. To do that, we can use let's go into our items. Okay, we have fireball projectile and the particle prefab which goes on his hand. We can instantiate this directly on his hand on our spell items. So that means on our runtime spells. Let's see. Where were our runtime spells? Random spell items, current particle. Let's utilize this as well. Inventory manager then. Spell to runtime spell. We instantiate a game object and we should do the same thing like we are using the equipped weapon. Not equipped weapon. The runtime weapon, where we also create not just the item, we also create the weapon model. We're going to instantiate the particle as well. So let's see how we can change this. Deep copy spell. Yeah, let's go with this. So instance dot current particle, whatever that is. Okay, and we're going to say instantiate s dot particle prefab as game object and instance dot current particle. Now we need to know if this is on the left or on the right hand though. So that's not really ideal at this point. So let's go and let's also pass bool is left, start as false, and current particle dot transform dot parent will be is left. will be, let's see what we're doing in here. We're going to get all this, actually. Copy paste it, paste this above, parent will be P. Now let's just, because this is just a particle, we can't just do P, not P, current particle transform dot rotation, or local rotation, better yet, local rotation, quaternion dot identity, current particle dot transform dot local position will be vector 3 dot 0. Okay, and after that, instance dot current particle dot set active will be false. Or actually, let's do, when we equip the spell, let's also pass bool is left. No, that's not it. Okay, let's whatever. Let's do public void create spell particle. Yeah, as you can guess, I'm kind of tired of this. So I'm just going to be passing the random spell, the instance, and if it's left or not, is left. So over here, let's take all of this. Let's cut all of this current particle, and I'm going to say if instance dot current particle equals null, then instantiate it. We should also be passing the spell, I guess, and that will be from our instance dot instance dot particle prefab. Okay, and it's just going to change to left hand or right hand depending on if you are using the left hand or the right hand, instead of just doing it in here. So we are creating the spell particle and we're closing it. On our state manager right now, if we don't have the spell particle, we can say on our spell action, let's do game object current, or actually we don't need to do that. Over here we can say, yeah, states, not states, we are in states, inventory manager dot create spell particle. The spell particle we want is our current spell. Okay, and if it's on the left or if it's on the right, will going to be give us if from the spell is mirrored. If it's mirrored, it means it's on the left. If it's not, then that means it's on the right. Okay, this will create us a spell. So while we are doing the spell casting in here, or we are counting for the spell casting, we can say current spell dot current particle dot set active to true. Let's do a check first though, if it's null, current spell dot current particle. If it's not null, save it like here. Let's move the insert. Okay, hopefully this will work like a charm. So, and it did. Of course, it doesn't close, so it's hard to notice. So let's go into our animator hook. on our scripts, controller, animator hook, controller move, and down here public void close particle, public void enable. You know what, we can just do throw initiate throw for projectile. Close particle. If states dot inventory manager dot current spell dot current particle set active false. Let's do a check current spell dot current particle not equals null. It's going to play this, and this will be the callback to actually instantiate our projectile, but we'll do this in a bit. For this to work, let's go into our animation, our animator, Boxman, Windows, animation, find the throw down here, and I think here it should do the trick. Close particle, and maybe on the next frame we can actually just add another animation event in here and say initiate throw for projectile. Close this, and let's see if this was going to work. Okay, we have one particle on his hand. He opens the other particle and he supposedly throws it. So this is coming along really nice. Yeah, the particles might need a little love, but it's still pretty nice. Yeah, this is actually super cool, even if the animations need love. Let's create the particle now. For the particle, let's do a call inside our state manager. Yeah, let's do it like that. Public void initiate throw projectile. Throw projectile. I'm going to create a game object over here and say projectile candidate. When I'm assigning the spell I want to cast, I'm going to say projectile candidate will be inventory manager dot current spell dot instance dot projectile. This is the prefab, it's not the actual projectile, keep that in mind. So we have game object, or better yet, if we have a candidate, projectile candidate is null, then return. Otherwise, game object go instantiate projectile candidate as game object. Now we need to know if it's left hand or right hand, so we're still going to use is spell is mirrored or not. Let's find it, and I actually want to just copy paste this thing in here, which we've already written it. State manager, delete states, we are already in states, and this will be spell is mirrored. Okay, and we're getting the right, left hand or right hand, but we're not going to use it as a left hand, we're just going to use it to take the position. And for right now we can't just do, or actually, you know what? Let's do position. If we have a lock on target, if lock on target, we're going to make the, I think lock on transform is better. We're going to make the game object or the particle look at lock on transform dot position. Otherwise, geo dot transform dot rotation, make it the same as our own rotation. Okay. Oops, transform rotation. Now, there is one slight thing we need to do. We need to actually get also the grenade projectile. Grenade projectile. Let's call this projectile. Actually, maybe grenade is not really the correct thing. They can all be projectiles. So let's change the name of that. Comment this out. Projectiles. I'm going to rename this to projectile. Projectile, save. Since we're here, let's delete the start. We don't need it. Okay, everything's correct. And again, let's go back into our state manager. Projectile will be geo, we'll get component, projectile, over here, geo dot init, although no, projectile dot init. Actually, we don't need the target direction. Is that because we rotate? So on the projectile target direction, yeah, we don't need any of this. No, we need the rigid body. We don't need the rest of the stuff. And delete the init as well. Save. State manager. So this will also throw the projectile, we'll place it on the right hand. That means on our animator hook, on our states, we have states dot throw projectile. Let's hit play. Let's try it now. Okay, we can now throw fireballs. If I lock on somebody, it will throw it right on the player, just like in Dark Souls, which is weird, because, you know, we are making a game like Dark Souls. Yeah, of course there's no pulling or anything. If you feel that it's necessary, then do, of course, pulling. We're probably going to do pulling. And yeah, as you can see, lock on transform, I believe we don't reset the lock on transform. And so we can say in our state manager, instead of just lock on transform, let's just say and lock on in general. So if you're not locking on, it will just throw it where you're looking at. Let's try it again. For the most part, it works like this in Dark Souls. Okay, there's a few slight changes. There's also a K in Dark Souls. Okay. This is pretty cool actually. And you know, since we are here, you know what else we can do? Let's see if this is going to work, because I'm curious. So we're now holding 2 fireballs. And this works. And of course, the right hand will work as well. So if you want to troll people and make them feel angry, well, you can throw 200 fireballs. So this is pretty cool, and I think it deserves for our video to end this way. So yeah, we're over an hour also. So you know what to do. Like, subscribe if you like to see more. If you like to see more cool stuff like this, because this is really awesome. And if you like for me to keep continuing and be able to keep making all of this, then your support, or either on Patreon or on Gumroad, is really much appreciated. And yeah, everything will just go back into keep making all this cool stuff, researching, developing it, and spending even more time making, yeah, really nice stuff like this. So I'll see you next time.